it didn't end there. That momentum swing kind of helped the Bills, obviously in the second quarter, and this is when we started to see some of those mid zone runs that you talked about, and I thought this is when the offensive line of the Bills actually started to take over. And Brady again spammed these runs. So this is the second quarter, 3:56 on the clock. Chargers are still up 10-7 here. This is a 6-yard gain, but I want you to watch the combination block between Torrance and
Mm-hmm.
Morse and the displacement that they are able to create. You have the jet action across the formation by Sherfield, and really nice work here by Cook. Look at it, hug this combination block, let those guys displace and create a new line of scrimmage, and then he just goes off the left hip of Morse there. And again, it's only 6 yards, but this was that moment that Brady was realizing, oh, we got something here. We can attack them, even if they have several guys in the box. And they did multiple times on this drive.
They literally ran this play, like exactly this way. What, Eric? Like 6, 7, 8 times, something
Yeah.
like that. Like same play. You're getting that motion from Sherfield. In this instance, you've got Dalton Kincaid at the end of the line of scrimmage there with Gabe Davis, but they also ran it a bunch where Kincaid would be David Edwards, and you'd have an extra lineman in that scenario. But they just spammed it over and over again. Like you said, it's it's only 6 yards, but it's an easy 6 yards because of the displacement that's created up front. And that's my highlight, Spencer Brown. There, you nailed the pieces with McGovern front side and then the double team. Look at the hands from Spencer Brown. I'm sure Aaron Cromer loved this action from Spencer Brown. What precision. And Eric, we saw this a bunch in this game from Spencer Brown in the run game and in pass protection.
Yes.
Really good hand usage. And when I say good hand usage, I mean precision in terms of hand placement, but also pop and violence in the hands. 93 goes to establish contact. And as he reaches, Brown just chops him right down in the wrists or at the wrists. 93 falls forward into Brown and bear hugs him, and then Brown just finishes him and gives him kind of like a belly-to-belly suplex like he's ECW Taz and just drives him into the dirt. Eric, I know you're a huge wrestling fan like I am, so I'm sure you love Taz and ECW. I could see the excitement on your face as soon as I mentioned that Taz reference. Just really beautiful execution up front, and I think that's what was so encouraging or exciting for me in this game with these mid-zone runs. The offensive line was working with a lot of precision in terms of their individual play, but also in terms of their movement as a group. And you saw that reflected in the success of these runs. It wasn't by happenstance that these mid-zone runs continued to work. It was because of the execution up front and James Cook being able to flow in these runs. But there was so much to like across the board with the offensive line, front side, back side on a lot of these mid-zone runs. And it was important because it's what got them going offensively.
And it's important from Brown's perspective to chop down the hands of this defender, because what has been his biggest issue as an offensive lineman over the years, his ability to anchor or lack of ability to anchor. And that can be applied not in just a pass game, as you saw in this game and on the season. He uses that snatch trap a bunch. Anytime that pass rusher is trying to long arm him and use power moves against him, he snatches and chops those hands down. They lose their leverage like this. But this applies in the run game as well. That defender's trying to stack him and then run down the line of scrimmage in his gap. But by throwing and chopping those hands down initially, that throws him off balance. He loses all control. He loses all leverage. And then you get the five-point hip throw there for the pin. I mean, just awesome stuff from Brown in the run game and the pass game, as I posted on Twitter yesterday. But here, you talked about it. They also ran it sometimes with David Edwards here on the backside. But I want you to watch, first of all, Morse, McGovern, and then Torrance on this play. Watch, again, the displacement, the combination work here, how McGovern on the backside here cuts this defender off and really seals the hole on this zone run. Look at that. That's just fantastic work by Morse, McGovern, and Torrance, even on the front side of that play. It just splits that gap in half, gets Morse on that second level defender, and Cook gets up inside for an easy gain on, once again, a mid-zone run.
Yep, mid-zone run with that jet motion action from Trent Sherfield coming across the screen, and then you're running that mid-zone to the weak side. And I think this was the first one and maybe the only one where they got a bare front look
Mhm.
inside with Mitch Morse and the two guards basically both covered up. You have a 3 tech, a 0, and then another 3 on the interior there from the Chargers. And it's so subtle, that feed block from Mitch Morse, just that little punch to the shoulder. And I'm really so impressed by what McGovern does here. He gets his hands inside, and that turn, like, this is hard. He gets
Flipping
hand
those hips.
placement.
Yeah.
Yeah. He gets the hand placement, the extension, and then he just is able to swing those hips and swing himself inside and completely seal the inside for James Cook. You highlighted Torrance on the front side of the run, getting into the kitchen there, Johnson, and being able to force him outside and seal him. And it seems like we talk about this every week when it comes to the Bills run game. What you want to see as a running back when you're going through that hole, you want to see the backside of your offensive lineman. You know that it's going to be clean and it's sealed. And that's what James Cook gets as he goes through here. He gets a backside from Torrance. He gets a backside from McGovern. Mitch Morse is climbing to the second level and getting hands on Murray and driving him out. This is just so well done internally from an execution standpoint and athleticism standpoint. Just, man, really well done from a technique standpoint for the offensive line.
Right. So same drive, second quarter, 123 left on the clock. This is Fournette in. He gets 5 yards on this play. But once again, you get that bare front look where your center and guards are covered up here. It's tough to run against usually. But this time, watch the displacement by Dawkins on the backside on Fox. You see the feed block by, once again, by McGovern right there, how he feeds that defender and gets that guy running horizontally off the screen, basically. And then McGovern still looks for work as Murray shoots the back door here. And as he's reading this, what's happening right here with this defensive tackle, Murray goes back door. And so you see McGovern read it and use his long arms to just get a piece of that guy so that he's not able to totally bring down Fournette. But again, a 5-yard gain. And it's via the ground, and it's by the offensive line working together, creating that displacement on a multitude of runs on this drive. And this is really the drive that, once again, I think the Bills offense kind of took over and
Mm.
really put my concerns to ease going into halftime.
Yeah, once Brady started spamming this, it made me feel a little better. I was like, okay, they've ID'd the weakness. They got something that works. They can keep pushing this button until the Chargers do something to stop it. And it was nice to see all the variations, against the fronts it worked against, the personnel they were using it out of. Really, obviously, love the finish here from Deion Dawkins. This finish worked out. When I first watched it, I was like, oh, Morgan Fox probably tripped over somebody and kind of fell down. Fox doesn't trip over anyone. Deion Dawkins just punishes him to the ground by getting that left arm into the neckline and
Yeah.
basically into the
Torques
face.
them.
Yeah, just torques him to the ground like hard. There's no tripping on McGovern or tripping on someone else. Like, Dawkins just rides him to the ground. And I love your point on Connor McGovern. And I think at times people think like good blocks just have to be clean and perfect. You need a pancake or you need to completely seal someone. Sometimes it's just as simple as getting a hand on a shoulder and changing someone's momentum or changing their plane of leverage and allowing your running back to run through an arm tackle or a shoulder instead of a chest. That subtle little movement there from McGovern just to get that piece on Murray, that's the difference from Kenneth Murray being able to, and you have
Yeah.
the arm highlighted there for him. That's the difference in Murray being able to fit into the hole and going chest on chest or chest on shoulder to Leonard Fournette versus only being able to try and put an arm to Leonard Fournette and Fournette running through that arm. And it's just that subtle little move from McGovern that makes that happen and allows more yards to be gained.
Yeah, and so similar personnel on this play. Watch the work inside. This is a 9-yard run by Fournette. David Edwards is in. Watch how he takes Khalil Mack right there for a ride inside. You're coming downhill. It's a dual run versus, again, that bear type front, that tight front
Mhm.
up the middle there. And Fournette just bounces it out wide here, and he's able to get 9 yards on this run to put the Bills in business inside the 5-yard line.
Yeah, starting to go into another concept that's worked for them this year. And again, like you said, going against that bear front, this time duo instead of being a mid zone piece, and everything just works front side. Deion Dawkins, boom, you got him highlighted there. He's getting extension. He has sealed his man. Mac dives inside. David Edwards washes him down. Beautiful block on the outside by Trent Sherfield on Derwin James. Just gets hands on him and rides him the whole way downfield, doesn't lose contact, is able to
Mhm.
drive him downfield. And then even Gabe Davis is able to bang with 37 a little bit, impacts him downfield. Again, gets a bit of a hat on a hat, and it's the reason 37 can really just kind of fling his body in and kind of gets run over by Fournette, and Fournette falls forward a bit. But this is where things started to build a little bit. And you were seeing that similar look, but now where they might be thinking, okay, here comes the motion in the mid zone. It's like, nope, everybody's going to stay static and we're going to run duo and just get downhill on you.
Yeah, so now they're inside the 5. Again, the clock's running. They're running the clock down going into halftime. And so now they go back to their bread and butter. It's dressed up very nicely on this play. So tight formation here to the bottom, Knox in line. You see Gabe Davis in that C gap as well. And they're just running their dart play, right? They're just running that tackle pull with Deion Dawkins. They're using the eye candy with James Cook to the wide side to pull this defender outside of the box. And what they're doing is they're pulling Dawkins, and he's just going to log block the edge defender. And you have the easy walk and run by Josh Allen on this play. So here it is from the end zone angle. Watch Dawkins, but again, watch Spencer Brown. Watch him go get a piece of Murray, kick him out, and then look at this lane.
Mm.
Touchdown Buffalo, man. This is their bread and butter. It's dressed up a little differently. It's in the low red zone. You better have a guy accounting for Josh Allen. If you don't, this is what happens.
I thought it was funny that they struggled so much in this game with their tackle wrap stuff, but of course, like they scored a touchdown on it just to get like a successful play with it. And yeah, Josh Allen sees two backsides as he runs into that front side, the backside of Brown, who's kicking out Murray and driving him. And great highlight with the log block from Deion Dawkins. And for those who don't know, that log block is exactly what you see from Deion Dawkins here. So when you get an edge player crashing down, you can either have them kick out, which would be Dawkins getting right into the chest of Tui Pelotu and pushing him out, and Allen would cut off of Dawkins's backside right here and go inside. But instead, what you get here is a log block, which is another option you can do against a crashing edge, which is what Eric has highlighted with that little arc, that little loop. Dawkins comes around the outside, takes that outside shoulder, logs him inside, basically traps him and pins him inside. Allen reads it, cuts around, follows him, cuts off his butt, and gets upfield. Yeah, just bread and butter concept, like you said, even when I feel like it was purposeful, like they were struggling with it and they're like, no, we're doing something good with Dart this week, and it's going to be this touchdown. And nice that it came on the quarterback run option to kind of add a little extra thought to this play to make the Chargers have to account for something else, and really well blocked up front.